What's the DJ?
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. This is your midday market report and closing bell all in one. It's Monday. Did you survive the weekend? The ECSI VIPs sure did. 9-1 to end the weekend, including Thursday, and quite the heater. 7-1 start to the college basketball season. I have to give where credit is due. Our new source here has really helped us see some numbers that most people don't see. As you know, what we do here is we read the market, we check opening numbers and corrected numbers and yada, yada, yada. Well, 4-0 on Saturday, team totals where we've been crushing it, get there. And you'll get a chuckle out of this, Mr. Riley. Northwestern State +4, down 3, then foul, of course, and you hit 2 free throws. But the bank was open at 10 o'clock for 3. Swish off the bank, and we get the nice cover there. So things were going well. Yesterday's just little action parlay to get the scratch the itch. Would have been really disappointed. We had the Saints plus 100 on the money line. They lose, so we're done. We're buried. Our dog of the day, the Minnesota Timberwolves, that we had at 5.5 and plus 170. Well, that went down to a 1 or a pick 'em because Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell out. So they go box to wire there. But this would have been the killer. We had Seattle money line and puck line in hockey, and 7 penalties and 3 in the third period. Long story short, they gave up a goal with 4 seconds left, and then they lost in overtime. But enough of me. Let's bring in Southside Riley, who's glowing from ear to ear. And I'm telling you, my NFL dog of the day was his guys. And it was on the desk. We didn't use him anyways, but he's got to be happy. I saw the old Aaron. I saw him go to LaFleur and say, what the hell are you calling on 4th down? I saw the passion. And they were down 14 in the second half, but I saw that passion. The emergence, the welcome to the party with Mr. Watson, who had not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns. And his speed on that one in the end zone, he just came out of nowhere and just – why am I saying this? Let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir is right. I appreciate you having me on, as always. Good to see you after a nice long weekend. But, to quote our quarterback that you mentioned there, we're not dead yet. So I am treating this Victory Monday. I'm enjoying it because we haven't had as many, and, I'm optimistic. But, just trying to enjoy this one in case things revert back to where they were. But, Christian Watson, man, was absolutely, and even still, had a little bit of a growing pain in the first quarter or so. I actually, this was the first time I got to watch with my family, so maybe I just need to watch with my dad and brothers every time. First time this year that I watch with them and they get the victory, so maybe I just need to get that going. But I think Rodgers was like 6 for 10 at one point in the first half, and I think all 4 of his passes were incompletions were 2 definite drops by Watson, and then maybe just a couple tough ones, and then he finally emerged and seems to have gotten the monkey off of his back. But he had one other one that he could have had a 4th one. So, that was massive to not only get him, break that, lack of confidence or whatever it was, to get that type of weapon, what appears to be a true weapon going forward. And, it sounds like I didn't get the full read on the update, but Randall Cobb, if he's not coming, I don't know about this Thursday, but either this Thursday or maybe next Sunday, he should be, kind of a security blanket again in this offense, which would be huge for us. So, still, the loss of Rashawn Gary last week is, puts a little bit of a cap on our defense compared to what we were, but got some nice turnovers at the right time. So, we're enjoying this one. If we, take it one at a time. So if we get this one on Thursday, then, we feel like we're in business heading into Philly and undefeated. Hope to be the team that spoils their undefeated season. I don't know, but either way, I'm feeling good. I wanted, if I was a neutral party, I probably would have it as my dog of the day. I had the old Detroit Lions as my dog of the day, getting the win there, which was obviously a toss-up basically in that one, but. Nonetheless, we're feeling good over here. I'm curious what other comments or recap thoughts whatsoever, whatnot from yesterday we can dive into. But happy to be back on Monday. I love these Monday NFL talks, my friend.
I was sitting. I had a room full in the new office, and we're watching the game. And a buddy of mine who's real close to me was on a nice little heater, and he did something he normally doesn't do, and he pushed all in on Dallas money line. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I told him, I was like, that is the wrong side, meaning I'm not saying Dallas can't win. I know the way the Packers have lost 5 in a row. They have looked ugly. Dallas has a great D. They're coming off the bye week. The number opened at 5. I think it was shaded to 4, maybe. The only side in my eyes you could have played was the Packers. Now, with that said, Dallas up 14 in the third quarter. The all season long, Rodgers would have just shrugged his head and just tried to get out of Dodge. You saw it in him last night. That old Aaron Rodgers, like, all right, we're not going to roll over and die today. And someone like Watson, it's hard when you're playing with veteran quarterbacks, the Rodgers, the Bradys. We talk about that circle of trust. And if they go to you early and you drop one, you usually don't see a ball the rest of the game. He is looking for someone to emerge. He needs someone. And I don't know where the Robert Tonyan of going kept climbing that ladder, where that has now suddenly disappeared too.
Right.
Nowhere to be found. Watson emerged. You got the bomb down the right side. That touchdown, that short one, he came out of nowhere, and you could see the speed of him where the other two defenders were just like, not even close. And
right.
He got the trust back, and it was a great game for him. Great game for him.
Right. Right. And it seemed like if there was any type of a different approach in the past this season as far as, kind of tough love type stuff, it sounded like that was a different feeling. I honestly don't know if it was Rodgers or LaFleur after, he had a drop or two kind of in the first quarter or something. And I honestly don't know if it was Rodgers or LaFleur said, hey, like, keep your head up. We're coming back to you. And part of that is, they've seen what his talent level was in that Buffalo game. He gets hurt. I think one of our first plays on offense was a 15-yard game for him, and then he goes out of the game, and he was a huge part of our game plan in this. So it seem like he is kind of the key to our offense right now, so to speak. Obviously, the run game was huge as far as that, but to blast through the ceiling, he kind of appears to be that key. And obviously they didn't have any other options. I mean, they were playing really, really well offensively. The thing that looked like that might break their back again was another muffed punt return. And then Dallas gets up 21-14, and then our defense, kind of crumbles again. Offense and defense crumbles again for a drive, and then it's 28-14 before you know it. Kudos to the team this time around. It's hilarious, honestly, that it was Mike McCarthy, because you have the case of typically we are a team that folds and crumbles when a back-breaking mistake like that happens, and it kind of did happen. And then you had the Mike McCarthy blowing a late 2-score lead in Lambeau Field, kind of fitting, and hopefully that exercised some of our demons moving forward here, because if we lose on these next 2 weeks, then obviously we're 4-8 and we're toast. But if we get this win against Tennessee, which maybe it wouldn't shock me either way what happened there. But if we're 5-6 going into Philly, playing with some house money on an extended week, then you never know. And that's, that Philly game is the toughest one. If there's one game, let's say you want the Packers to go 10-7, I guess that Philly game would be the one that you would kind of pencil in as a loss. But even just looking around the NFC, there's still a path of a 9-8 team getting that last wild card spot, whether it's the Packers or the Niners or Washington, whoever. I think 10-7 is the optimistic spot, which obviously could be very optimistic. Only one more loss, but even 9-8 wouldn't surprise me to get that 7th seed in the NFC right now.
No, and not to harp on stupidity, you could see Dallas with the 2 touchdown lead. I didn't think Dak was impressively sharp. You couldn't cover CeeDee Lamb. Okay, you couldn't cover him, and yet they stayed away from him late. Back foot Dak, not 1 but 2 picks. And the real kick in the what would be in overtime. I knew deep down, and I said it out loud. I'm like, okay, it's 3rd and 4. I says it's 2 down territory. You're gonna go for it here. There was no doubt in my mind. So if it's 3rd and 4 and you already knew you were going for it, you run the ball on 3rd and 4. You get positive yards. Instead, that's just McCarthy being McCarthy.
Yep. And the Packers have done some of that themselves this year, and maybe you didn't know it was 4-down territory, but yeah, that is one of my biggest pet peeves in all of the NFL. If you know you're going for it on 4th down, I'm 100% with you there. That is one of my biggest pet peeves that drives me nuts. So obviously this time around, I was, we were all saying thanks Mike, appreciate it, thanks Mike. So. Moving forward, we're feeling good about that. Obviously, getting Tennessee into our home building this. Hopefully, the short week gives us some momentum, and then a nice long rest for Philly after that. But feeling a lot better, enjoying this one for sure here on Monday, especially against the Cowboys, and optimistically, thinking optimistic. That's the one. That's a potential competitor for a playoff spot. So to get that tiebreaker is absolutely huge. So.
Early opening line, 40 and a hook and a 3, now 42 and 3. This Tennessee team, when you want to just bury them, then, Henry runs for $180 and 3. It's a short week. A chance to really build on that momentum. Obviously a must win, Minnesota. I'm watching that game and again, Josh just pulling a Josh. His 4th look was to Gabe in overtime. Listen, I know you don't practice 1st down from the 1/4 inch line on your 1, and you couldn't have done that. You just can't script that.
Right. And obviously, sorry, I didn't. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, and obviously, safety is still bad, and they're down 2 with 40, 50 seconds or whatever. But if it's still a better case than giving them a touchdown or even exactly. So, the luck that has not been there for the Vikings the past 3-4 seasons with Zimmer is somehow 100% there. That was, as far as the NFC North, that felt like the final nail in the coffin. They would have to lose their butts off if we were going to catch him. So, and I already kind of had in my own head had that ship sailed and was pivoting to the wild card if we're talking optimistically. But even after that one, that's about the final nail in the coffin as far as the NFC North is concerned for sure.
And the comedy is, because everyone's saying the same thing. Minnesota is the biggest flawed 8-1 team in the history of the NFL. And they're home next week and underdogs to the Cowboys. How's that grab you?
Yeah, that's the way it goes. And they're a good team. I don't know where you have them in your top 5, top 10, whatever it is. But I agree. They're obviously the luck factor is there. So I'm not putting them in that upper echelon category. But they're a playoff team, and they're a tough out in any game. They could still win any of these games, even against the best teams. But they could also lose to the worst of teams. So I'm interested to see how the rest of it plays out. And as a non-Kirk Cousins believer, but still a believer that he's fairly good, I am honestly not upset because I'm hoping they pay him way too much, even more than they previously paid him, and it makes it even tougher to build a Super Bowl contender as an NFC North rival. So, that's my silver lining to them being 8-1 here as a Packers fan, is that they'll overpay Kirk Cousins and then he'll be bad on that next contract.
And as good a season as the Eagles are having, they just every week got to look up at Justin Jefferson and just watch him and say, we took Jalen. We meant to say Justin Jefferson, not Jalen Rager, guys.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
it was a mistake.
And he has been. It's an interesting one. Again, I'm a diehard Packers fan. I really hate the Bears, Vikings, whatever. I've got my dynasty football, fantasy football team. He is the cornerstone of that team. So it's tough to root against him. The dude is. I mean, after that game, some of the catches he made. I don't know if you think he's the unequivocal number one receiver in the league. For as long as Devontae was with my Packers, that was I was going to throw him at the number one spot for sure. But now I don't, and I still love Devontae Adams as a player, still my favorite to watch. But I think it's those, those two are in the top three for sure. And Jefferson after in those situations, that 4th and 18 catch, I mean, the defender himself needs to have a stiff talking to, but just knock that damn thing down. But that was unbelievable. I mean, some of the other ones as well. That was unreal. I don't know how you slow him down. The Eagles obviously did it, but if they meet again in the playoffs, I don't think it's going to be as successful in that category next time around for them. He is unbelievable.
I was in my intro and I was talking about Saturday. You have one of those days, you're on one of these runs, and it was kind of comical because we had a team total that we got a pick 6 to get over. So that was one of our wins. So we're rolling on Saturday. We had the Texas Tech team total over 33.5. That comes through. Temple team total over 17.5. We got that in the first half. The South Alabama, I was about to X. We got a pick 6 there to get that over. and it was funny. The basketball game was the last one, obviously thinking of you. And I'm following on my phone, and I see we're down 3 with 3 seconds, and I'm just hoping we had the ball for that last shot. And then I see the final, and then my buddy Scott sends me the video of the 3-quarter, half-court off the bank for the cover.
And that's the one where as an Illinois State alumni, Illinois resident, you're you know what? I'm glad that Illinois can't bet on their own legally bet on their own colleges in state because I don't know that I would have done that the other night, but I'm sure a lot of plenty of people would. So and those ones are. Those ones are the most backbreaking when the game is over and they just launch up a shot at the buzzer that doesn't count and it splashes. Those ones are my favorite for fan reactions, though, good or bad. A guy just going absolutely nuts in the second row for a buzzer beater that doesn't matter to the actual game, or collapsing in a seat or something like that. So I don't know if we saw any in that game, but. That's hopefully my my ISU boys can get it going as far as rolling some wins off. But nonetheless, that one was a good win. You love to get those on your side those times for sure.
Big Ten, what did I take? I tell you what I take. I was spot on, and I try to explain this to anyone that wants to listen, guys. When you see a team total of 9.5, your first instinct is to run to the window. They got to get 10. There's no doubt. And we talked about the under over of 50.5, 51. And my exact words to you were, I am more confident in Michigan putting up 40 than I do Nebraska getting to 10. That was my first instinct. I was spot on. Nebraska didn't get to 10. And you could watch that game. Michigan was playing just to get through the game without injuries. We're just going to take 10-minute drives. They didn't care. It was business as usual. And Ohio State, the people that lost last week on the team total, just get back on the horse, and they're going to take care of business. What'd you see in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State, that was a game where not only get themselves back to humming on offense, get some C.J. Stroud Heisman points for sure in that one, because they were fantastic against Indiana there. Illinois, obviously, the biggest game that they've had in 15 years, and obviously can't get it done. So now the Big Ten West is I don't even know what the scenarios are, if I'm being totally honest with you. As far as Illinois, they obviously got to beat Michigan, which obviously is probably not happening, but. And then Purdue's got Indiana and Northwestern, so I gun to my head, I think Purdue gets it done in the Big Ten West and is unranked Purdue, 4-loss Purdue, facing off against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. But aside from that, we were spot on some that we didn't have the strongest thoughts of. Let's see, Minnesota smoking Northwestern, kind of a bounce back or get right or statement there for Minnesota. Penn State smokes Maryland 30-0. Maryland. I don't know what happened to Maryland. They obviously had their fire the first half of the season. These last couple of weeks, Wisconsin and Penn State couldn't get it done. So, and then I had the under in Michigan State Rutgers, and I think Rutgers had a BS back. I can't remember what the spread on that one, honestly, but a backdoor, over for a meaningless touchdown to lose by 6, and that one busted the under for me there. So, you know what? It's the big, obviously Ohio State and Michigan, and then after that it's the mess that is the Big Ten West. That's what you got left in the Big Ten, and then what type of bowl game does Penn State? I guess as long as they don't, let's double check. They got Rutgers and Michigan State, so unless they have a huge stumble, they're going to be 10-2, getting a pretty good bowl game. Depending on what happens with Ohio State and Michigan, maybe Penn State gets a Rose Bowl spot. Probably only one of Ohio State and Michigan is only one of those getting to the CFP, and the other, the loser's probably going to the Rose Bowl. But on the off chance that chaos happens and they both find a way to get in there, maybe a one-loss Michigan gets in somehow, then Penn State would be in the Rose Bowl. But aside from that, they'll probably get maybe they get a New Year's Six Bowl. I honestly don't know where they would fall as far as that. But yeah, it's Ohio State and Michigan now, and then we'll try and figure out what's going on with the cluster, in the Big Ten West there, the 4-way tie with Purdue, Illinois, Iowa, and Minnesota there. So it's going to be interesting.
I thought I understood. I only heard it in passing. Iowa controls their own destiny. Isn't that correct?
I think that is the one that is the most clear. They've got Minnesota and Nebraska. So obviously, and Minnesota. Actually, yes, I think so, because Purdue beat, as far as this week, because Iowa plays Minnesota. So then I think the winner of that one, if Iowa wins, then they win against Nebraska. So, yes, Iowa is the one that is the most clear, controls their destiny. If Iowa loses to Minnesota, and then it becomes Purdue controls their own destiny, beating Indiana and Northwestern. That's what I believe is the most likely case, because Purdue beat Minnesota, but Iowa beat Purdue there. So even if I think even if Illinois, actually now I'm not sure, because if Illinois beats Michigan, then maybe that changes a little bit, because if Iowa and Illinois are tied, then Illinois has a tiebreaker. So I think unless you, as long as you're assuming Illinois loses to Michigan, then I think Iowa controls their destiny the most here. It's a cluster and a half here, but yeah, I think you're right. Iowa controls their destiny the most here for sure.
And the close on the Big Ten. So Saturday, my eyes were pretty good. I had Maryland team total on the desk, which obviously they got shut out, which was the loss. I had Rutgers team total, which gets there. And the last one, I had Minnesota. Here's another one. 28.5. Everyone's instinct is to bet the under 28.5, and they get to 31. And so I had them on the desk. So 2-1 would have won almost the unit there. But it's easier. It's like you go 4-0 on 150 plays out there. You win 4 units. It's tough to win 4 units in one day. But someone would rather go, say 10-5. I'd rather have 15 games and go 10-5 versus 4-0. So you can't win for some of these guys.
Right, 100%. And I didn't have any strong UFC thoughts. I didn't have any thought. That was actually I had Wisconsin. That was the other one. I had Wisconsin in that Iowa game, and then obviously Iowa's defense showed out in that one. And then I took a stance on the UFC event with the Poirier fight and the final Adesanya fight, that one of them was going to lose, and so I took the dog in both those fights, and Pereira. Got it done. So that one, those fights were fantastic. So that one, win or lose, that was just a fun event for sure. But that one helped me out and shored up my college football loss that I took in the Wisconsin game. So credit to the Alex Pereira bad man. That was some fantastic fights at the end of the UFC event there.
We have a full slate tonight, obviously headlined by Washington and Philly. Opened at 10, it's 11. DraftKings minus 105, which says it's going to go to 10.5, which it won't. It's going to stick at 11. Under over opened at 45, down to 43. if you want my honest 2 cents, I have 0-0-0 in this fight. I have some fantasy guys. I have the Philly D. I have Godart. I have Sanders. I think I have Curtis Samuel on one spot on the other side. Listen, the Philly team coming off a bye week. Everyone expects them just to roll. Heineke at quarterback. Any thoughts? Any leans? Any props? Anything here?
I've got nothing right now, honestly. I'm not jumping into it, honestly. I kind of lean towards Washington staying in this one. My problem is that it wouldn't surprise me if the Eagles had a late, touchdown to go up by 12, 13 points or something like that. Or, really, I have some faith in Washington because they've been playing really well. I mean, the last 5 weeks, they're 3-2. They're 2 losses. They should have beat Minnesota last week. And their defense is just playing a lot better. The problem for me in this one, though, is if they get down and they're going to be, if they're forced to throw it, then, I'm a little concerned that there's going to be some type of mistake made at some point, in the second half, and that's what is the difference in the game, whether or not they have turnovers or not. And, I have more confidence in, I think it was Wentz last time, the first time these two teams met, right? Yeah, it was Wentz the first time, and Wentz gets the panic happy feet, when pressure comes, he gets a little panicky. Heineke obviously can make turnovers. He doesn't have that type of panicky type stuff. So I have almost a little more faith in him to some degree as far as if we're talking about the Eagles getting pressure, but you just never know. I mean, Heineke also can throw some turnovers fumble or turnover when there's no issues or pressure or whatnot. So at the end of the day, I like the way Washington's been playing, but I could see Heineke making some turnovers and turning this into a 17-point Eagles win in the blink of an eye, if I'm being honest with you over here.
Through my head, I'm going to go off the board for my prop today. I don't know if you got it in front of you. What is the Philly defense anytime score?
Okay. Let's see. It is where'd it go? 5-1 plus 500.
I'm going to take that on the Philly side, and then on Washington. What's Terry? Actually, who is Slay going to be on? Samuel, McLaren?
Well, these odds might help you out on that one. McLaurin is 250, plus 250 to score a touchdown.
And what is Samuel?
He's 460, so maybe that, maybe not. I don't know, but I don't know. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. 460.
Brian Anderson?
Robinson, 240, plus 240.
I'll take a shot with Scary Terry McLaren.
I'm with you. I mean, the dude is an absolute stud. Maybe I'll go a little deeper, and I'll say Jahan Dotson, 5-1. That's where I'll go.
He's back. Good call there. That's a good call
5-1. Seems a little steep, but, yeah, that's where I'll go. 5-1.
Anything on the Philly side?
I'm looking. So Sanders is minus 110, Hurts minus 105, A.J. Brown 125, plus 125, that is. Devontae Smith 210, Goddard 220. So I'll go. He had a nice game last week. I'll say Kenneth Gainwell, their backup running back, 450. That's where I'll go. I'll go Kenneth Gainwell there.
And I picked him up on a team this week, too. He was on the waiver wire, so that was a wait and see if anything was ever to happen there. There's a clear path for Gainwell. I like that call as well. Good job, though.
I was seeing it. He's not on any – I don't see any rushing props or anything like that yards-wise. But, yeah, I'll take a swing with Gainwell there.
NBA, pretty big slate. College hoops, a decent slate. I'm looking right now in the NBA. Let me see from the eye test. The Golden State open at 8 down to 7.5. They are so overdue. Last time I jumped in on the spot, they lost outright to Portland. But from the eye test, I would lean Golden State there. The under-over was at a 232 as well. Maybe the over as well. I don't like the double dip there. There was a flip. Orlando was 1-point favorites. Now Charlotte's a 1-point favorite. The Celtics just keep on rolling. Opened at 10.5, now 12. They're due for a hiccup.
You think so? I'm not disagreeing with you. This Thunder team we've talked about are really scrappy. I'm not playing it. Because I kind of believe in this Thunder team a little bit. Whenever I see these double-digit spreads for the Celtics, though, going back to when they really got going last year. That's been kind of at least from my perspective, a decent. And I guess maybe this is the time where they're due for a hiccup. So I'm happy to buy into that 100%. But anytime I see a double-digit spread, that's at least my eyes light up a little bit, and you know that's kind of the statement from my perspective that they take care of business. But like you said, it's been going on now for going back to January last year, so maybe this is the time for a hiccup. And like we talked, I think you and I talked about it on Friday. This Thunder team, and I think that was a winner on Friday night against either the Raptors or the Knicks. I'm not sure which one. Yeah, against the Raptors, they were 5-point dogs, and they got that win outright. So they're a tough team. So yeah, I could see this one being the time for the hiccup. That one, I'm staying away from it though, because I like whenever, like I said, my eyes light up when they are those double-digit favorites though.
I just have flashbacks. I want to say it was around Valentine's Day or something. They were rolling, and Detroit came in 13-point underdogs and beat them outright. And for some reason, it's sticking in my head. I'm not saying it's going to happen tonight. It just kind of sticks out at me. The other line that smells a little fishy to me is that the Bucks are only 4-point favorites against Atlanta.
Yeah, and I guess they're both kind of trending opposite directions kind of right now. Miami as a favorite, and they are at home, so I guess you could buy into Miami having fixed themselves, but I mean their last two wins to get themselves right are both against the Hornets. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to make of that. That one feels like maybe a statement for them to be favored. And Phoenix 8-4, they've been losing a little bit, at least to where they started. So that one kind of jumped out to me a little bit. But as I've said throughout the season, when you get those teams that appear to be going in the right direction that you thought, that you expected to be good, like the Heat, sometimes that's not the case. When you look back and it's okay. Well, they took 2 games against the Hornets, who have been kind of a dumpster fire. So I'm not sure what to make of that. Gun to my head, I'd take the Heat, but yeah, I'm not sure there either. And then Toronto and Detroit. Toronto's got a bunch of injuries. Felt like maybe a good spot for Detroit, but so many injuries, you just never know. If that was a bigger number and you caught him maybe before the injury news, or if there was a time to catch it, then I think that's gone. Detroit kind of back against the wall, 3-11. They've got some talent. I think Cade Cunningham should be back tonight. I know he was out on Saturday, so don't quote me on that. But I obviously just love Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham, so I've been staying away from him completely. But that one at least was interesting to me. But I'm staying far away from any of the injury stuff. Van Fleet's out for the Raptors, I know.
Yeah, and I just checked the notes again on the Minnesota-Atlanta game. Again, why it makes no sense. Bogdanovich for Atlanta out, and for Milwaukee, Giannis probable. Grayson Allen, not a big deal, but is probable. And Holiday is still out, and the number's still stuck at 4 with a 226. So what's my math here? 14, 10, 15. So they got it at 115, 111 Milwaukee. That's where they got it at right now.
Okay. Excuse me. The other one was the Clippers and Rockets, but this is the third time they've played each other. That one felt like, why is this one so low? The Rockets are 2-11. They might be the clear worst team in the league, or at least definitely in the conversation. That one felt a little interesting to me. But like I said, these teams, this will be the third time they played, and the Rockets have played them close both times. I think lost by 2, covered the first time, and then lost by 8. And I think Clippers covered the closing number, but I could be wrong, but I want to say the opening number might have been decent for the Rockets in that one. So I'll stay away because, third time, you never know. But that one at least was a little fishy to me. I'd be a little hesitant on the Clippers there.
What do you see in the college basketball slate?
Let's see. College basketball. Well, there was 2 that I want to talk about, both of them in the Big Ten. Somehow the Big Ten keeps having at least one hand in these decent slates here. But and I guess it's Big Ten, Big East, so I'm excited to get your take on it. The other one is my neck of the woods, Big East team. Go figure. DePaul in Minnesota there, but I don't know. Was that line I don't know. Is that a toss-up to you with a fair line, or do you think that's because I at least from my perspective, the perception throughout most of my lifetime is that DePaul is a steaming dumpster fire, but that doesn't appear to be the case going into this year. Whereas Minnesota, has had flashes the last 10 years or so, and they are, appear to be one of the clear bottom 3 or 4 teams, if not, bottom 2, bottom 1 in the Big Ten this year. So I don't know. You think that's fair, or is that a DePaul spot there?
You called it. Minnesota's one of those teams, they get off to a hot start, and then they get into league play. They're nowhere to be found. I've enjoyed this DePaul team. I've had some good success with them. They're scrappy. They can score. You look at this one here. It was a 138.5, now 134.5. A Minnesota 1-point favorite. Now DePaul 1.5-point favorites. Let me go to the Bible and see what they say. It's the number 1 rated game. Ken Palm has DePaul at 88, Minnesota at 118. He's got Minnesota 69, DePaul 68. Do you believe in the flip or you don't believe in the flip is the question.
Yeah, I'm staying away from this one. The next one, I'm really interested in your thoughts. I'm staying away from gun to my head. I'll say I think DePaul gets it done, but I'm not taking it. This one feels a little closer to a toss-up in my opinion on this one. But other one, Butler and Penn State. Penn State now 5.5. Do you know? I see this one opened. I'm not sure if this app is correct or not. Did this one open 9.5 and is on its way down, or is that bad information by my app here?
No, this is one that's on my desk here, and we had an amazing week. We were plus 7 units, 6.5 units for the week. I got 3 games on the desk, and I hate to start Mondays after a big week going 3 in, because if you go 0-3, it takes away from the big week. But this is one of them, and I'm trying to get to it for you right now because, first of all, Butler for years has had our numbers. We go with them, we lose, we go against them, we get egg on our face.
Sure.
Okay? And I'm going to tell you what the actual number here is. It's eye-opening.
Well,
because your site is not wrong. And I'm going to tell you the number here, and you're going to fall off your chair.
No, I don't. If it's going where I think it, then I don't know that. I think I might be expecting what you're saying.
And
because Penn State, people don't realize Penn State's been the bottom feeder of the Big Ten in basketball for my entire lifetime, or a fun season here and there, but it doesn't appear to be the case this year.
Well, here we go. Finally, hold on. And by the way, hats off. Michigan State played the Zags. They played their ass off on Friday. That was a great game.
They did. It was.
Come on. All right. So, the under-over was 141, which is now 143.5. We'll say consensus 144. Sure. Do you know the actual number on this? 13.
13 for Penn State.
The corrected number is 5.5 right now. So I go to the info, and there's one player here. Come on, don't do me wrong now. Butler, questionable. Ali. Okay. Go to the Bible. The Bible has Butler at 120, Penn State at 33. The Bible has Penn State winning 76-64.
It doesn't surprise me. So now that it's 5.5, I did take a little swing on Penn State at the 5.5. If it was 9.5, whatever, maybe I would have been interested at Butler at that point. But I mean, if we're talking about perception on this one, even my neck of the woods, even after a bad year, it takes 2-3 bad years from Butler for people to get the Butler Hinkle magic or whatever it is off of them. I mean, the people love to bet on or to believe in this Butler team, and you're closer to the Big East than I am as far as the knowledge that you have with the Big East. But and would it surprise me if Butler had a great game? Like you said, no, because they are that kind of thorn in your side if you go against them in a lot of times. But the other side of it is Penn State. I mean, Penn State for my entire lifetime has been a non-factor in Big Ten basketball, and that's not going to be the case this year. So I was interested in the Penn State -5.5 at least at this point here.
Yeah, I got on the desk right now. Penn State -5, buying the hook. And why do I do that? Well, because if it lands on 5, I get the push. It is right here. After the show, I send out the alert. So that's the first one that's at the tip of my tongue. The second one goes to a total. Now, I got to find that one for you, and then I'm going to flip it back to you. Come on. All right. Rotation number 847, 848, Miami of Ohio and Georgia. The real number is 148.5. I'm seeing 140s. Now, on, where was it? On Friday, the Georgia Wake Forest game, the real number was 151.
Yep.
The closing number I got was 137.5. I think Georgia scored 21 points in the first half, and they came back with about a 50 burger in the second half. It landed in the 150s. We cashed that one. So this is my second game that I get the 139.5 by the hook. That's on the desk as well, because the number is now at 140. I can get it to 139.5, and I'm showing my real number at 148.5.
That is interesting to me as well. I mean, this Georgia team, their defense, I mean, it doesn't appear that that's going to be their strong suit this year, on top of being able to score. So that one, was that just to switch it? I'm 100% with you. To switch it to the spread, do you think that was a fair number, or do you think that's a side that maybe Miami, Ohio can take care of on that one, plus 12.5, and maybe even?
Let's see what the Bible says here. The Bible has Georgia at 94th, Miami of Ohio at 279, Georgia 81.66. That lands on 147 and a 15-point winner.
Okay. I was just trying to pull up. There was another one that I was curious about. What about Florida hosting Florida Atlantic? It looks like 12.5. Is that fair, or is that too good to be true for the Gators there? 2-0.
First and foremost, by the way, whoever listened to the show the other day, and I thought there was something up with the Vanderbilt number, we had them +3 against Memphis. They lose by double digits. They closed as 16-point favorites and lost outright the other day. So take them off of your board. Scottie Pippen Jr., I don't know, whoever, they're just bad right now. So take Vanderbilt off your board. Well, I think here, this is interesting. Florida's ranked 32nd on Ken Palm. Florida Atlantic is 85th.
Okay. I guess I didn't realize that. Wow. Okay.
Ken Palm's got Florida winning 78-68. So only by 10.
Okay. Yeah, that one I was neglecting to look at Ken Palm on that one. I was not giving respect to Florida Atlantic on that spot. So maybe and I think Florida might have messed around with Kennesaw their first game. So I think Florida Atlantic had a 13-point loss to Ole Miss. So I don't know. Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that one, because I would have.
Florida Atlantic beat Lynn 81-46, whoever the hell they are. They lost to Ole Miss 80-67, so they lost by 13. Respectable there. Florida beat Stony Brook 81-45, and then Kennesaw State 88-78. So they haven't really faced anyone. And how about yesterday, by the way, Riley? Tennessee about a 15-point favorite against Colorado and lost outright.
Yeah, there's those upsets are tough to find, but I mean, when you get them, it's these a team like Colorado, especially a Power 5 upset like that. You don't typically see those. You see the goofy, like the Bellarmine taking down Louisville, and then I know Louisville lost again, but either way, yeah. So that's impressive. I would imagine Tennessee's able to bounce back from that going forward, I think. But that one kind of slipped through. If anyone's college basketball and NFL fan, then probably slipped through the cracks on Tennessee there. I was pretty high on Tennessee overall, so I'm interested to see. I hope they can bounce back after that one.
Anything else grab your eye?
Let's see. I had one other one that I was going to mention.
What about your
there.
Illini against Monmouth?
Is there? So I guess I don't even see a line in that one. Do you have a line for that game?
The true line was 24. I'm seeing 27.5 to 28. Let me see what the Bible has here for your Illini, if you even have it. Okay. I can go here, though. Give me 1 second.
That's interesting. It's just action. The action app doesn't register Monmouth's spread the first couple of games, so I'm that one kind of slipped through. I knew they were playing Monmouth, but I didn't see a spread. But go ahead.
The Ken Palm's got Illinois winning 82 to 60, so they got them winning by 22. So there's actually a 6-point value play on Monmouth if anyone was interested there.
Yeah, no, I could see it. I mean, you've got Monmouth losing a couple games, bad offense, so maybe their offense bounces back today. And you've got Illinois taking care of a 25.5 point spread in their last one. So yeah, I still love Illinois going forward, but that one, I'll stay away from that one. But I don't think I have anything else aside from that. I'm glad we talked about those two Big Ten games though, at the very least.
All right. And in the slate and hockey, one list kind of grabbed my eye just to hear. Where was it? Rotation number 15 and 16 at 8:35. LA comes into Calgary. Calgary opens up minus 165 now, minus 170. It's a flat 6 under over minus 15 cents. But I dug a little deeper. The LA Kings team total is 2.5 over minus 135. And Calgary team total under minus 125. I see this game as a 4-2. Now, initially, I was going to take the plus 105 on Calgary getting the 4, I should say. You also can take a look at the Kings going under the 2.5 at a plus 15 cents as well. So I think this game gets the 6, but I think Calgary wins 4-2.
Okay. I could see it. I could definitely see it. Obviously, I don't know what I can add as far as the hockey pucks here, but I mean, even just a casual fan looking at this one, I like to throw in some. I haven't done it in a while, but if I'm trying to do an action parlay, multi-sport parlay, I like to do something. But 10-6-1 LA against 6-6-2 Calgary. That at least interests me as a casual NHL fan as far as the Kings there. So I'm with you. I could see it for sure.
What's the Kings record? You said.
I see 10-6-1 here.
And Calgary?
6-6-2. I guess I don't know if let's double check. 10-6-1 and then 6-6-2 for Calgary.
Yeah, Calgary is almost a 2-1 favorite.
And then TJ over here is asking Islanders tonight? ?
Islanders team total, TJ, at 3.5, juiced under minus 145. Ottawa 3.5, juiced under minus 170. Let me go over here for 1 second for you. Opened at 115, now 126. Under over opened at 5.5, now a 6. Probably going to go under, TJ. Let me look at one thing here for you. TJ, I'm going to shock you here. If you want some value, I know you're not going to do it, but I'm going to say it anyways. I would take a swing at the team total of Islanders over 3.5. You should be able to get them in around plus 120 or 125. Do I ever bet minus 1.5? Sure, I do. Absolutely. I do. I think the value is the Islanders to get to 4. And you can get that probably at around plus 120 or 125. I'm seeing it juiced under minus 145. So if you take them on the plus side, you should get them at around plus 120 or 125. It's a good spot for them. Jekyll and Hyde. Thank you too, TJ.
What about I've got nothing else. What about my Blackhawks hosting the Carolina Hurricanes? Blackhawks obviously surprisingly competent, I guess you might say, but compared to where I thought they were going to be, but a big underdog against the Hurricanes.
You know, this team is one of these, when I go on them, they look like hell. When I go against them, it's Kane and company looking like the Stanley Cup champs. Let me see here. Opened at 220, 227. The whole world will have Carolina in regulation. They'll have them on the puck line. Yeah. Let me see what the puck line is so we can see what the is. So I can sit here and laugh out loud. Spread, and they were Carolina opened up plus 130, now 122. So that's everyone's go-to in their MO tonight. Over here, I got 225 to 232. You know what? I think you could get cutesy here if you wanted a little hometown action. Let me see here. Let me see. I mean, it's 2.5 juice under minus 140. Carolina's 3.5 at 120. I tell you what, if you wanted some action on this game, I tell you what the play is here. You take Carolina team total under 3.5, and you can get that at even money. That's your action on that game.
All right, I can get behind that for sure. I'm just trying to look up some odds here for sure, but yeah, I can get behind that. I don't know if I'll run to the window with the Blackhawks tonight, but yeah, you know what? Some people got some home cooking here, so I'm curious. Yeah, I was obviously at the United Center for the Bulls a week ago, and now Blackhawks here tonight. I'm not going, but I'm sure the ticket prices are a little more reasonable than the Bulls are right now. But nonetheless, I am happy to hear maybe there's some type of action to take for the home faithful here.
Closing thoughts, sir.
I've got nothing else. I honestly just wanted the only thing that I wanted your take on that we didn't talk about with the NFL, and maybe you said it on another show this morning, but to close things out, what about the Jeff Saturday experience, getting the win in Vegas against old Josh McDaniels there? I obviously you're not a Josh McDaniels guy at all, so. What's the leash looking like? I mean, are they going to pin this on him or Derek Carr, do you think?
You know, I saw Derek Carr's press conference in tears, and then I see Devontae Adams and Devontae talking it like it is. You know, we've been playing like this behind the sticks all year. You know, they've had 14, 17-point leads that they've lost. Devontae got paid. You know, and this is the toughest part about sports is you pay someone, and in his eyes, he's doing his job and everyone else isn't doing his job. For someone like Waller to get paid to sit out 4 or 5 weeks and then to go on the IR the same day that Renfro goes on the IR, the same day that someone retires, something's going on in Vegas. He's already lost the clubhouse. I think, and this is just my take, and TJ goes, not my McDaniels. I said this in June, July, and August when we were doing shows. You know, I'll say it one more time. I talked about leaving the 617 for the 702, and people do geographical changes every day. And we always say that the grass isn't always greener. So you leave Boston to go to Vegas and you're still taking that same person. And I'll replay the whole tape. Josh was on a plane to Indy to go take that job. And the report was that Brady reached out to Kraft, and Kraft went and grabbed McDaniel, says, we need you back. Well, the truth of this matter, guys, is Josh also got the report that Andrew Luck was 50-50, whether to play next year or to retire. So Josh then comes crawling back with Bob, and Tom says, I'm back here to stay, when Andrew Luck didn't go and play. So now you play out the rest of those couple of years. Then Tom leaves, and Josh now has a new toy, and that new toy isn't any shining last year. And now he knows he's got to get a job.
Yeah.
I got to get my head coaching job this year, or I'm never going to get it, because the Pats are not going to be able to make those leaps with Mac Jones. And nothing against Mac. They don't have the weapons. It is what it is. The East got better. Look at Tua. Look at the Jets. Look at the Bills. So what do I think? I think management has to look in the mirror and say, do they believe in Josh or Carr?
Yeah.
So I said this on the weekend. I said it with you. I think it's Tankapalooza. I think they're going in for Bryce Young. They're going in for C.J. Stroud. I think they're going to tank the rest of the year. I think Josh will be there next year. They'll decide which quarterback he's going to go to bed with, and they're going to see what it looks like next year.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you. Especially if honestly, if they were going to fire him, this would have been the time, right? 2-7, you just lost to a dude that was on TV a week ago. This would have been the time, right? Well, the other, I heard someone else on a national show this morning that I really thought was interesting. As far as McDaniels when he was in Denver, if you pin this on Derek Carr and you go a different direction, if you're able to get Stroud or Bryce Young, then maybe that's a different conversation. But kind of did that with Cutler in Denver and shipped Cutler out, and then McDaniels. I don't even remember who they ended up going with that quarterback after that, but he's out in Denver pretty shortly after that. And so if you don't tank and get Stroud or Young, then I don't know what the alternative is, and maybe the same thing happens. So. The tankathon will have to be there, but there's still obviously a talented enough team that they might, if Derek Carr's playing like that, and if he's playing, then he's going to want to win some of these games. So, last question: Matt Patricia was welcomed back to the Patriots staff. Would the Patriots do the same for McDaniels if he is fired from Vegas or whatever in the next year or two here?
The first part of that answer is yes. But there is a part 2 to that question. And that question is, does Alabama let Bill O'Brien go? And if that's the case, then Bill O'Brien will come back as the OC and possibly the leader in the clubhouse to take over if Bill leaves. Now, with that said, there's one guy that I would love to see come back and be that head coach, and that's Vrabel. I think he's done an amazing job in Tennessee. Now, would he want to come back here? I have no idea.
Right.
I don't have a say in that matter. But I think they would definitely take Josh back. But I think if they had a choice between Josh and Bill O'Brien, I would lean Bill O'Brien leader in the clubhouse.
B.O.B., yeah. As long as Bill O'Brien isn't the head coach and GM, then I like Bill O'Brien in that situation, unlike what he did in Houston with the GM situation he put together there. So I'm with you, though. I'm glad you mentioned that because I wasn't even thinking about that. But, yeah, could get interesting in all these parties. And, yeah, Vrabel, I think Vrabel's fantastic. That's a great question of would Vrabel want that job just because it's, it's almost like a college alumni like Harbaugh going back to Michigan. Obviously, in this situation, it's like, all right, well, he's got a decent situation in Tennessee. I guess it just depends. But, that's going to be interesting. I hope we get some chaos here the next year or two.
My closing thought, I don't have the proper way to say this. I saw the news on what happened in Virginia. I'm speechless where I don't have all the details. That's all I know is that 3 kids, that's what I call them, kids, were gunned down by a former player and 2 others injured. I don't have the details. I have no idea. I don't know how it happened. Was it on the bus? Was it not on the bus? Was it after they got off the bus? I don't know what the fuck the world's coming to. Period. End of discussion. I have a daughter on campus at UConn, so whenever I see gunmen on these campuses, I shit my pants. It could be anywhere, and I don't have any answers. The gun law is out of control. Anyone can get a gun, and you go back to the first time this happened in Columbine, and then the Foxes of the world and all these other new CNNs promoted it. Now it's just become an epidemic where you want to get notoriety. I'm going to go get a gun. I'm going to go on social media, watch me, and this shit happens. And I'm
Right.
speechless.
Yeah, yeah. I can't add anything to it. Honestly, I mean, yeah, it's heart wrenching, and yeah, it's interesting. I obviously you have it from a parent perspective. I'm a few years removed from being on a college campus, and as a college kid, you kind of have that. It's not going to happen to me, but it got to a point where I was like, all right, you at least have to know the procedures and whatnot, and to have that become a reality is obviously soul crushing. So yeah, it's rough news, man, and yeah, I hope we can make some type of changes to get this at least limited at the very least. So yeah, well said, and yeah, it's a heartbreaking moment here in Virginia for sure.
So tomorrow, I think we'll go back to business as usual. 4:30, we'll figure it out. Um, I haven't caught wind from Mr. Webb, so I'll get the full schedule there, and I'll keep you updated. Something about me and Sundays, and I gotta apologize live on air here. I always say let's get a show going on Sunday, and I just never can get to the window. I just, truth be told, we got about 3 inches of rain here Saturday night into Sunday, and so I had Lake Erie here on Sunday. On Saturday, I had to take care of, and it was back on Sunday. So between the wet vac and the blowers, it was just a nightmare. And apologies for not reaching out. I know you're getting ready for your Packers, and by the way, spot on. Congrats on the Lions. I thought they were sneaky, and Justin played his ass off again, and what a month that kid has had.
I know that, and yeah, it's weird. It's seeing the Bears lose their butts off, but still be pumped at the same time. Their fan base has been interesting. So, yeah, he was fantastic. I can't deny anything he's doing. There was a couple times watching the games where you think he's going down, and then he gets out of it, and then he scores. So, but yeah, until further notice, that defense is horrendous. So, and then yeah, as far as Sunday, I didn't even realize because I do my weekly Packers blog, and then I do every game for the Bulls. I had both of them on Sunday, which is rare. So it ended up kind of working out for me because I was from the second I woke up, and my fingers were on fire, and then games were starting. So it ended up working out this past Sunday for me this time.
And I think I'll close here with TJ saying something. TJ's in Charlotte right now, so he made a little mention that we got a little Charlotte and Orlando coming, and your Bulls. How's your Bulls doing here?
I didn't get a chance. I was out in the an hour away at my brother's house last night watching the Packers. So got home. By the time I got home, the Bulls were smoked last night. So I don't really know what happened. But 6-8. I mean, again, I told you it's a much different feeling than the Packers and White Sox and their ugly records based on expectations. I'm at least having somewhat enjoyable time watching the Bulls games. But yeah, I don't know. They got to find some consistent identity. Scoring offensively, and hopefully we can get Lonzo back here. So I think they'll be fine, but I'm just interested to see, kind of like we were talking last time, whether they make an aggressive move or, they're kind of just fine with kind of being in this middle of the pack and maybe in the offseason or going forward they make a big move. But, I'd imagine as opposed to being content with being a 500 team for the next however many years, I think they might have to have something up their sleeve at some point. So whether that's this year, this offseason, next year, I don't know. Or maybe they've got somebody that's going to grow into a top 10 player that I'm not aware of. But yeah, I don't know. We're all right now. The expectations are tempered, but we're having fun with it to the most part here.
Just as we speak, Klay Thompson downgraded to out with the Achilles. So anyone on Golden State. Just now at DraftKings dropped to 7, so it's moved a half point or so. So keep an eye on that. And I've had to sit and listen to 10,000 people with check marks talking about the Red Sox in the offseason. TJ talking about White Sox AAA is in there in Charlotte. He's going to keep an eye out for you.
Nice.
I'm hearing Sox going to make a 10 for 300 or so on Devers. It looks like that they will not go back and re-sign Bogarts. And the fact that he's going to the Phillies, I'll be shocked if the Cardinals don't make a stronger move and they get him before the Phillies do. Anything on your front? You're hearing anything on your side?
It's been interesting. Top of mind, Jose Abreu appears to be, or the Cubs are apparently very interested in Jose Abreu, which schematic or roster makeup. I've been kind of reading the tea leaves. It would hurt a lot. He's been awesome for the last 8 years for us. He's honestly a contender to have his a jersey retired for us. That's how much he's meant to this fan base. Honestly, through some tough times, and now honestly obviously the last few years, but going to the Cubs and seeing him play for the Cubs would obviously hurt a lot, and it would be a fantastic fit for them. So I'm not sure what. I hope that he goes somewhere else, so I don't have to watch that. But aside from that, it was a double-edged, just some nonsense. Our Reinsdorf's he's got friends all over the place. I saw an Athletic article where they were the 5th contender to sign Aaron Judge, which would be fantastic. And I've said, that if we're getting aggressive, then, throw our name in there. But I think the tagline was Jerry Reinsdorf always seems to have something up his sleeve, and White Sox fans did a spit take. I'm sorry, what was that? Something up his sleeve? I'd love to see that. Yeah, as far as the highest contract that he's ever given out is barely. I don't even know if it's a 3-digit number that he's ever given out. So that one was laughable to me. And then there was a conflicting report of they're going to be aggressive or spend some money, and then there was a conflicting report that their payroll, what they'd like their payroll to be, will be lower. So I have no idea. Nothing would surprise me. I hope that they get aggressive and go. Whether that's get aggressive for an arm or. We will, right fielder, second baseman, I don't know. Hopefully we have something more than Band-Aids like we did this past year. So, that's Abreu is the clearest picture of it. Looks like he's leaving, and the biggest thing I've seen is the Cubs, which would make a lot of sense for them. But other than that, I don't know. Nothing would surprise me with this offseason for the White Sox here.
I heard Abreu linked to maybe the Red Sox and a few others. The Sox haven't had a first baseman in years. Rizzo's back out on the free agent market. You always can use that lefty bat. The Judge thing, I keep saying this, and I'm not paying him 7 or 8 years, okay? But I wouldn't. He's 30. He'll be 31 in April. If you wanted a 4/5 years, you control year 4 and 5. And what's the number? You're 45 per. So, in other words, if I'm a small market team and I wanted to get aggressive for my fan base, and I offered you 45 times 4, let me see, that's 90, that's 180, right? If I know it's not your 7-8 year deal for 350, but if I offered you 45 per for 4 years, that's 180, and you had the 50-year option. I think I'd rather do it that way. Hey, I'll get you for 31, 32, 33, and 34. You decide what you want to do at 35. So that's trying to get cute, number one. So I get a gun to you. No, I hate to use that. I'm going to offer you an early Christmas present.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
You rather have DeGrom or Judge? Who do you want?
Oh, man. Man, oh, man. If you can guarantee me the DeGrom health, and he's going to be DeGrom April through optimistically early November, give me DeGrom. Without that, give me Judge, I guess. Man, that's a good question, and I would be ecstatic to be in that conversation, but I'll go Judge just with the DeGrom hasn't had a full season, and that's what I would go. If you can guarantee me the health, give me DeGrom, but I'll go Judge with that one and give us a right fielder there.
Well, here's the funny. I lived through Pedro. I ate, I slayed, I drank through Pedro. Every 5th day, it was absolutely must watch. And the funny thing is this is when I was at the games or I'm at home watching them, you never left your seat when he pitched. Mm-hmm. You would go to get your hot dog, your beers while the Red Sox were batting. It's exact opposite of what usually goes on. Yeah. So every 5th day, you could have the magic. As TJ says, I will cry if he leaves. TJ, I'll send you a box of tissue because there's no guarantee he's coming back there. But the fact of the matter is you get an arm like that every 5th day, and it's must-watch TV here. Yeah. And every 5th day, the place is packed. You'd be going to the train every 5th day. You're marking your calendar. When am I getting on the train?
Right. And honestly, and that's like the closest thing that I've had to that in my lifetime is this season with Cease or the 4 or 5 years with Chris Sale. which obviously isn't the DeGrom level. But yeah, and maybe I just haven't had that like you have with Pedro there. So. No, like I said, it's really just a concern, which maybe is a BS concern, and you take your chances with it as far as the miss in the middle of the season or whatever he's done the past couple of years. But yeah, no, I would. I'm not saying I wouldn't take it. I'm just we need a second base. We need a right fielder. We'll take a couple left-handed bats on top of it. Who knows? But yeah, I would love to have. Happy to be in. Would love to be in this conversation seriously in a month or two here.
Hey, I got a good lefty for sale, no pun intended. Chris, I'll drive him to you. We got him real cheap if you want him back. Trust me.
Yeah, I don't know that we want him back. The he had some issues with people in our organization who are still there, so I don't think he wants to come back to the White Sox. As far as Mr. Chris Sale there.
From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson the one. We wish everyone a blessed day. It's the new start of the week. To the ECSI VIPs, please go out and enjoy Envelope Monday. One hell of a run right now. 9-1 our last 10. 7-1 to start the college ranks. I got a big decision to make here. I gave you some good leans where we were, where our eyes are, and I tell you what. I just, when you have a big week, basically you hate to give it all away because it's as easy to go 3-0 as it is 0-3. If you're on the right side, the wrong side, a half-court shot, as TJ just said, Stonehill at Providence. TJ, I had an opportunity to go to obviously the Stonehill UConn game. The Providence game's about an hour away. I'll have to check my schedule and stuff. I have an opportunity to tiptoe down there. I might shock the world and send you some pictures from Stonehill at a couple of games. Have a lot of family in the West Bridgewater area, which is right down the road from Stonehill. So we'll keep an eye on that. So to the Virginia families out there, God bless you guys. Get more and more information as we go there. I have no idea what the hell happened there. We never do. So thoughts and prayers to you guys and all the kids out there. And we'll be back tomorrow in the afternoon, me and Riley. TJ, thank you so much. Always great to see you on board here. We'll keep an eyes on those DeGrom places. And, I think we take him back here at Fenway. He's not Pedro. He's close, but he's not. But we can sit and talk about that this spring. So everyone have a blessed evening soon.